You're damn right.
Light it up. Hey guys, we are here. Sorry, we're a little late. We had little bit of technical difficulties, but we figured it
My
out.
bad. My earbuds suck.
But in reality, though, you were one of the easiest guests. I mean, when you first came on, it wasn't that difficult though, so you're fine.
I'm glad.
Um, everybody, this is Shanda's sister, Shanda's younger sister, Paige.
Hey, everyone.
Let me say hi to a few people.
Can I
Thanks,
pull up
Mama.
chat or?
I'm gonna say hi, but I think maybe when we start just talking, I wouldn't even worry about it because it sidetracks me. I just want to say hi to a few people.
That's fine.
I'm not going to look at chat, guys, until the end. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the questions that I have and, chat with her. And if for some reason I didn't cover some of the questions you guys have, the mods are going to take screenshots and we'll be like interactive at the end. We'll go through chat. So I'm not ignoring you guys. It's just I need to stay focused. And when I look at chat, you guys know how easy I get sidetracked. Sidetracked is my middle name. But thank you, Melba, for joining. Thank you.
And hi, Alina. My daughter's on there.
Oh, is she? Yeah, where is she?
Alina Strahovka.
Alina. Okay. Hi, Alina. Well, thank you for coming on here and answering questions.
Thank you for having me.
I was hoping I would get to talk to you. When I read your statement with law enforcement, I'm like, man, I need to talk to her because your statement actually was the only thing that offered any kind of insight into Shanda's, upbringing.
I figured as much. Shanda, from what I understand, she didn't really. All of her kids knew about me was my name and that I was her sister.
That's so crazy.
So they didn't know anything about the family or anything they came from. They don't know anything. Shanda hid everything from them.
Like she was hiding them. Yeah, she was hiding. That's Paul didn't even know. Like I don't even think he knew your name. You heard that phone call where he's like, "Oh,
yeah, I heard that."
He knew. Well, they knew David because didn't David watch him for? Didn't he have him for a period of time?
What I understand, yeah. I mean,
so
from what I've read in an article, I haven't talked to David since 2001.
2001, and that's the same Shanda too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start by going through like the basics of siblings, parents, all that stuff because those were some of the basic questions that people have, and now we have the answers thanks to you. You saw me struggling on that one video. I'm like, who is Shanda's dad, or who is that? It was like, oh, now we can answer some of the questions. Okay, so I actually made this. Let me bring it up. I just did it real quick, just so we could have something to look at, and then we'll get into the more deeper questions. But
I'm here.
Okay. There we go. All right. So I just put this together real quick just so people could have a thing to look at here. So so we have your grandmother, Joan. And she was married to Byron Arnold at first. That was her first husband, right? And then that's where she had your mother. Your mother is
my mother's name was Mildred Margaret Arnold.
Okay.
That was her maiden name. Now I don't know anything about my grandmother's second husband. I think he passed away.
The Vanzel. So that's where the Vanzel comes from. And then Mildred had
my mother was married 4 times.
4 times. That's what that is. Yeah. So Mickey Hughes is David and Helen's father.
Biological father.
Yes. And then Kenneth Trammell is Shanda's biological father. There you go. Ding, ding, ding. We're trying to figure that out so hard.
Correct.
It's like
she doesn't like to admit it. She wants to believe that my mother, had her with a politician, some dead politician or some crap. But no, Ken Trammell was her biological father. And you can tell in all of her baby pictures, if you compare him to anyone in the Trammell family, it's so obvious. And Alina can confirm that.
Yeah, I saw a resemblance in his like older pictures. I was like, wow, I see a resemblance. And then John Henry Hank Ramsey is where you guys got the name when you got. So
yes. Now Helen never changed her name to Ramsey.
Oh,
she had it Trammell and she changed it to Holman at one time, and then she got married to her wife, and changed it to Lackey.
Okay,
but she was never a Ramsey. Helen had only been in the picture one time, right before my mother passed away after she was 12.
Okay. Yeah, I want to get into all of that too. So then John, okay, Hank Ramsey, that was who you guys stayed with after she got out of jail. Okay, well, actually, we're going to lead into that. So I just wanted to show everybody. So Dan Hosh, guys, just keep this in mind. Dan Hosh is the stepfather that Shanda had an affair with. Well, Dan Hosh is your biological father.
Yeah.
It's a
He was married
well,
to someone else as my mother was when they had their affair. I have a brother that is 6 months younger than me. He is my half brother,
yeah.
and we look a lot alike.
So when your mother was married to Kenneth, she had an affair with Dan and had Paige. So Paige is the youngest. Shanda is 2 years older than Paige. And then Helen is 49. You said she'll be 50 in July. And David is 51. He'll be 52 in July, you said. So he's the oldest. Okay.
Helen is 7 years older than me, and David is 9 years older.
Okay. So I just wanted to show people that just so they could kind of get a
Yeah.
look. All right. Let me bring up my questions here.
There's too much misinformation in the world. It's better to just be honest.
I know, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share this because I know this is like personal stuff. This is your life you're sharing with us. This is your personal
Thanks to
life, your
Shanda, it would
upbringing, and
come
you're
out
willing to. What's that?
Thanks to Shanda, it's going to come out anyway. The best thing to do is just be honest.
Keep it, get
And be
it. Yeah,
straightforward.
correct. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Okay, so you were telling me that Shanda was the favorite child, right? Your mother's favorite child?
Yes. With Ken Trammell, I think it was more, she was the only one of us that had blonde hair and blue eyes and kept them. You know, I had blonde hair when I was little, but I still had brown eyes. I didn't have, blue eyes. With my mother, I think it was because at that time she was the one that looked the least amount like her. So it wasn't as much of a reminder for her as when she looked at me. My godmother used to say for her, looking at me would be like looking in a mirror, and she didn't want to be reminded of her life with her mother. So I don't know. There's a lot of aspects with that. My mother fought to have me, and then she just didn't want me around after I was born. That's why I had Cynthia Orgelis as my nanny.
So do you think it had to do with because it was she had an affair and it was because it was with somebody else, or do you just think it was something else?
Actually, I never thought about that. Excuse me. I never actually thought about that. That's probably a possibility as well, because I know she really loved Danny a lot. You know, it didn't take long once they saw each other again for them to 2 weeks later they got married.
So did you feel like you're like growing up with your mom? Was she like a loving mother? Did she show you love? Shonda love? Was she different with you?
She was
She was
loving with Shonda. She was very harsh with me. My brother was her enforcer, actually. She wasn't one for affection with me. She could be very cold.
but she
But I
was
knew
with
better than to
Shonda.
argue or to fire. Oh yeah, she loved Shonda was the princess in our family. That girl could do no wrong in our family with my mother.
Wow. Mm.
My mother got mad at me once for not being willing to let her see my diary.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Now how were you disciplined as children? When did the abuse start? Was it with your mother? Was it with your
When I was very little, it started with Ken Trammell. My mother wasn't really around me very much the first few years of my life. I had a nanny, and my brother David and my sister Helen were the ones that actually raised me the first few years of my life. So I didn't really know my mother all that much. I knew she was my mother, but that was about it. Ken Trammell was very physically abusive. I know that I've been told I did witness some things between that he did, with one of my sisters. I don't know what actually happened with Shonda. I remember the night when the accusations came about very well. But when it comes to the physical side, it was more of when he got drunk, he got very violent. He liked to use belts to, if you twirl a belt a certain amount of length away from a buckle and you twirl it and you snap it on somebody, it will leave a welt about that big.
Yeah, he
If
would.
you're right, it can bleed.
Wow.
He liked doing that.
On all
He
of
hit
you
me with a
guys,
hot,
right?
yes.
Okay.
He hit me with a hot poker in the leg once. I still have a scar on my leg from it, actually.
Did your mother know what was going on? Did she see this? Did
He
she
abused
take
her too.
he abused her too? Yeah.
When things finally went down, it it was a pretty extreme situation, actually. Um, he had found out my mother had cheated on him, and he did not handle that well. He threatened to kill all of us. The next day, sheriff deputies came to the house with the house key, picked me up, shoved him back into the bed, and slammed divorce papers in his lap and forced him out of the house. And within a week, we were in a custody battle.
Man. And then she ultimately got the custody because you didn't go with him, right?
He was the one that had done all most of the abuse at that time that I was aware of. Like I said, I didn't really know my mother the first few years of my life. I still didn't want to be with her. So when I testified in the courtroom, I asked to be placed in foster care. But I didn't think they were both alcoholics. They drank heavily. And I'm not
So
talking just wine, I'm talking whiskey and
your mother was an alcoholic too. Is that what you're
yes,
saying? Okay. Okay.
she loved
So
her whiskey and her coffee.
did she?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so was she still married to Kenneth when the whole thing happened with your mother being convicted? I mean,
No.
she wasn't married to
By that
Kenneth. Okay.
time she'd already been divorced and he was out of the house. We still had Cynthia Orgelis in the house at the time. Didn't know at the time, but found out later that she admitted to me that, and Danny, of course, that she worked for my grandmother. That was the whole purpose of her being in my mother's house, was to spy, gain
So then
information.
those of you guys aren't familiar, if you didn't see my video or weren't aware that her mother, Shanda and Paige's mother, was charged and convicted with hiring a hitman basically to kill
Conspiracy
her
to commit
mother,
murder.
supposedly for the money for the trust fund. Um, and you were 4 years old when that happened, right?
5.
5. You were 5. Okay, so Shanda would have been 7.
Mhm.
So she went to jail. You guys went to foster care, and
David was
that's
split up from us. He was
okay.
placed with a neighbor or something. I don't know where he went. But Shonda and I, we first went to a facility called Chiho House in Huntsville. It was where they would place kids before they would place them into the foster system. It was not a good place at
Really?
all. I got in trouble once and got tied into a high chair in a room that was 3 by 3 by 3 with a single light that came down. Um,
Mhm.
I had to stay there all night one night. I got tied in there. Hero, stop it. Sorry.
So you were there with Shonda. Like, did you guys kind of like be like stick together since it's your
We
sister?
tried
And
to.
yeah,
Um, she was placed in an actual bed, and because of how small I was, I slept in a crib.
okay.
So
Did
we
you
were
guys
placed in
know
separate.
what was going on with your mom? Like, what did your mom tell you
Yeah,
when she went to? She told
we
you, or
I was one of the ones that answered the door when the feds showed up.
wow.
There were 3 FBI agents and 4 uniformed officers.
So so she goes to jail. You guys, well, let's
I
talk.
was at the front door with Hank when the feds showed up.
Okay, so she was with Hank at the time. Okay,
Yeah,
Ramsey.
by that point, yeah, she was already starting to see him, as she kicked Ken Trammell out, as she got rid of
And
Ken Trammell. So
you said Ramsey, he was the one that brought the best out in your mother, right? You said you guys
yeah, he did.
really liked him.
It was
Yeah.
actually very sweet when he was around, somewhat
Yeah.
around him anyway.
So he waited for her while she
Yeah,
did her time in jail. Okay.
and he
Let's talk a
married
little bit
her.
about
I
your
think he married her while she was in. I don't really know on that. I know they were married when he passed away, and that was the first time we saw mother again, was at his funeral. And then she ended up getting us back a few months later.
okay. So let's talk a little bit about the foster care though, because I think
Yeah, of
that's
course.
really important in what happened because it seems like Shonda used some of those discipline methods for Timothy, maybe more
Oh
extreme.
God, she took
Um,
those to a whole new level.
yeah.
Oh dear God.
So you were telling me you would get ice baths, right?
If we got a C on our report card, we were placed in an ice bath for an hour to an hour and a half. We weren't allowed to use warm water when we bathed. We only got to use cold water.
Okay. Um,
We would be fed bread at times. Sometimes we got their version of beef stew, which would be a chunk of meat, a chunk of potato, and a chunk of onion boiled in water. Usually we lived off of what we found in the woods surrounding the area that we lived.
wow. That's I can't even imagine. Yeah, didn't you say you like brought home like flowers and different things to eat and you'd like sneak and eat
Kale.
them at night and
Actually,
stuff?
as it turned out, one of the things that we loved snacking on raw was kale. And I didn't even know at that time it was a superfood.
Yeah, you guys were eating
I didn't
healthy
even
and
know
didn't
what it
even
was.
know
I
it.
just knew it smelled good in the woods. So we tried it and it was like, oh, it
Yeah.
didn't make us sick. So here we go.
Wow, I can't even imagine being that hungry that you're just like trying things that could be poisonous. You don't know. You're just like so hungry. Let me try this. Hopefully it won't make me sick. And you guys were young. I mean, that's young.
When we
I
weren't
can't
in
even-
school, we had to stay outside for hours.
Really? So you had to,
So we
okay.
found things to do. And, there was a lot of wooded areas. So we got to see, it was fun to explore. I like being outside anyway.
Yeah.
And Shonda at that time was still trying to practice the flute. So I really wanted to get away.
Oh, that's funny.
She got better at it. I'll give her that. She got better at
Yeah.
it. But at first, it was just worse than hearing a duck, you know, pull a tail feather on a duck and they make that horrible squawk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
That's
what
a
it sounded like.
wow. Um,
I was fine as long as she didn't try to sing.
yeah, you're telling me she's a horrible singer, huh? Well, Paula must have got the voice. That's so
Oh
mean. I'm
God.
sorry.
Oh,
Um,
I played that. I was listening to that at work, and one of my coworkers was like, "What are you listening to?" I was like, "This is my nephew trying to sing." She was like, "Please don't
yeah,
turn that off."
that's funny.
I said, "We just need some voice lessons."
So foster care was you were there what 2.5 years around,
Yeah,
right? And that was definitely you said you came out weighing like how much?
I was about 40, 45 pounds.
I mean, so you guys were definitely
We were skinny and
malnourished.
bone.
Yeah. What about Shonda though? Was she malnourished? Was she? I
She
mean,
was
she had to be.
she was a little bit better than I made sure I tried to take care of her when we were in foster system because Shonda never could handle any kind of confrontations or anything when we were little. She was too emotional with it. So I tried to do what I could to protect her. I always tried to protect her.
Wow, and you're the little
She was
sister,
still a bit
and you're
skinny at that time, but
yeah. Did they use any hot sauce? Where did the hot sauce come from? Do you have any idea where that came from?
they did a little bit, but
Oh,
nothing
they
like
did.
Shanta's ever. They only tried that with us a couple of times. And with me, it didn't work. I like hot sauce.
Oh, okay.
So if they gave it to me, I was like, oh, I'll take some more.
Yeah. But did Shonda
They
hate
gave
it?
up. Oh, Shonda hated it.
See, that's probably why.
She
She
was just
probably
like,
did.
the
Dude,
look
I
on her
hated this.
face,
This
she
is
would
gonna
just be
work.
like,
That makes sense. Wow.
we would
Trying to
get
think
hit with cut wire hangers. If you hit enough times and at a right angle with a ping pong paddle, you can break the ping pong paddle handle off.
oh yeah.
So if
So yeah,
we
you
got
guys
less than a B on our report card, we were ready to run.
wow. So you definitely experienced some abuse there. So were you happy when your mom got out of jail and you were gonna go back to your mom? Was it like, oh yes, we could get out of here?
Somewhat. I was nervous at the same time. I never, the first few years of my life, I didn't really know my mother that well. She wouldn't be around me 90% of the time. So I didn't see her really as a fit mother even back then. So I was a little bit nervous. I was happy because I was like, okay, maybe I'll finally get to eat some more or better,
Yeah,
which we did.
you
She did take care of that, thank God. Thank God most of it was ordering out because she couldn't cook.
did.
That woman could
Oh,
burn water.
burn water. Um,
Oh my God, it was bad. It was awful.
at least she did, yeah, order you food. So, did she tell you any stories like when she was in jail? Did she talk about it at all? Like any?
She never
any
discussed when she was in prison. I found out from my godmother a little bit later, but she did send us letters and like activity books that she would get that she would copy off or whatever. So we would have something from her. We never had any pictures, so I didn't know what she looked. I've forgotten what she looked like. until I saw her again. I didn't even know who I was comforting when I saw her at the funeral. She was wearing all
Wow.
black, and I walked up to her and hugged her and said, "It's okay. Things, everything will be okay." And she looked down at me and she said, "Paige?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. Do I know you?" I said, when she told me, "I'm your mother." I said, "Oh, hi."
Wow. But Shonda did, right? Because
Oh,
they
Shonda remembered. Shonda was just latched on. She had an iron grip.
I could tell. Did you see Shonda's graduation from college video where she thanked her mom or
Yeah, I
whatever?
thought it was a little weird how Paul was like,
Yes,
I mean, I'm
was
affectionate with my kids.
that was a little much. And even I don't know if you saw her ex-husband Adam VanderArk. Did you see his statement? What he said about how it was kind of weird how she would have him sit on their lap. It was just like he said it was just now looking back, it was kind of maybe too much with what she did with her sons, but I don't know.
Wow. Did she really?
I'll have to show you that statement.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong,
That's
with my kids, I've always been very huggy and affectionate, but no, once they get a little bit older, it's a little bit much.
no, it is. There's definitely some inappropriateness going on. So I want to ask you, you mentioned David being the enforcer, right? Your older brother, David. Do you think that that's kind of where Shauna got the idea to make Paul
Yes.
Timothy's enforcer? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think she would have tried to do that with her other son had he been the one around instead of Paul.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
There's one thing
Did
she
you,
learned from my mother was how to be manipulative.
oh, that's one of my questions actually. That is like, where did she learn that from? So that was from your mother. Okay. Um, did she have a lot of friends growing up?
Not really. I mean, she
No.
tried to date a little bit, but that never lasted very long. And the guys she would choose were just dorky and just. I ended up being friends with them later. One of
Yeah.
them I beat the crap out of.
Do you think she chose though, like those type of people so she could control them and boss them around, like
Oh
the
yeah,
wimpy ones?
definitely.
Yeah.
Because they were definitely every single guy that she dated was more the submissive, you know, mellow type.
Yeah,
That's
and you
why I
even
was
said
a little
Eric.
surprised to learn that Eric had changed
Yeah, I was gonna say you said he was
later.
kind of
It's
like
like,
a
really? What? No. I will
but the
never forget how he was when she was hitting on my ex-husband right in front of him, holding their oldest son, hanging all over John, saying, "I can't believe you're marrying my sister."
wow. Yeah. She um so did she lie a lot? She was a liar, like did that
She
start
liked to
at an
get me in
early
trouble. If she said
okay.
that I did something to her, mother would believe it, and it was a world of hurt.
But beyond the like the sibling type, because I mean we had kind of had that too. But was she like a liar about other stuff? Would you consider like a pathological liar in general about like everything, or was it more like competition with
Yeah,
you?
definitely. I mean, she liked to, from what I understood from people that knew her in school, she definitely liked to people to believe she was more than she was, better than she was. She always looked down on everybody.
Ah, I could
To
see
her,
that. I could see
everyone
that.
was beneath. No one was as smart as her, as pretty as her, as popular as her. It,
I could see.
she was obsessed with two particular guys all through high school. One, like literally all 4 years of high school. Every weekend you'd hear, "Oh, he's going to ask me out this time." It's like, no, he's not. You can just hang that up.
Oh, so
She
she
even
was part of that.
dragged us to the hospital when he was in coma.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
She even dragged me and my half brother to the hospital with her when he was in a coma because she wanted it to appear like she wanted him to believe when he woke up that she was right there by his side and didn't leave
Oh,
his side. And
oh my God. Wow.
that didn't work too
Um,
well.
So you said okay, you do think that she got the manipulation from your mother, you said, okay.
Oh yeah.
Um, and your mother
Most of
was
the women in
did
my
your mother let
family
you
are very good at that, from what
what's
I've
that?
noticed. Most of the women in my family on my mother's side, a lot of the ones that I have gotten to know, they're very good at being manipulative, from what I've seen. It's pretty sad, actually.
So it's just they're just like repeating the cycle, Shauna just repeating the cycle. You broke. broke out of the cycle, which is good for you.
I couldn't stand them.
Yeah. Do you wait, hold on. So your mother, like, she let you guys have boyfriends at young ages and stuff? Were you allowed to?
I'm sure she would have let me. I didn't want to.
Okay. Now,
There was no.
Shonda obviously seems like she likes
Oh yeah,
animals. What's that?
Oh yeah, Shonda had a boyfriend. She had skipped a grade. So she had her boyfriends are usually a bit, at least a couple, 2, 3 years older than her,
Okay.
and but they never lasted long. I think she had like
I
four
wonder
in one year.
why. Yeah, she probably.
Well, a couple of them tried to dump her and try to get with me, and I was like, no thanks. I
Oh,
am good. One of
Lord.
them I beat the crap out of actually.
Yeah.
I was
Um, what's that?
I was 10. He was 14, and I was
Oh,
like,
whoa.
I will kill you. I was very feisty. I have no problem admitting that.
Feisty. Was Shonda ever diagnosed with anything, any mental disorders or anything, or did she ever even see
He was
anybody for?
diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay, so she really was. Okay, I never know what to believe. Like
My mother tried her on diet soda, which of course made her mad because we love Dr. Pepper. Most of my siblings and I love Dr. Pepper. So yeah, she hated that. But she tried her on medication for that as well. I don't know what the medication was.
So wait, so she was diagnosed as a kid with ADHD, right? So wonder if she was
Yes, in the
on like
90s.
the methamphetamine type, like the Adderall or Ritalin. I'd be curious to know if that's what they had her
I
on,
don't know. I
because that
doubt
could.
it because my
Okay,
mother wasn't one for that kind of thing. Not to that
okay.
extreme at that time that I was aware of. So I doubt that.
Now I'm trying to think what that article said about your mother. When she got arrested, they said something like she said she didn't remember because she was taking pills and drinking. So now my mind's going to what if she was taking
Yeah,
her Shonda's pills?
before
Because
it went
sometimes the
down,
parents abuse the
my
kids. What's that?
my mother's doctor out of the blue placed her on a medication called Haldol.
Oh,
Now, if you
okay.
don't have a psychosis, it can cause one. It can cause you to develop a psychosis. I believe my mother was set up because I heard my nanny make one of the recordings once. I was taking her sweet tea in the bottom floor of the house, which is where she and her family resided when I was little, and I thought she was talking to my mother. I mean, it sounded that good. And I got downstairs and it was Auntie Cindy, and that was it. And I thought I heard my mother. I never called her mom or mama. I just called her mother. I thought I heard my mother. Oh no, she's not here. Don't worry about it. And a few weeks later, my mother's, being taken from the house in handcuffs. It's like, you might want to look into this. But no one listened.
Well, can we get into that a little bit more? I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about that, but if you want to,
Fine.
so your family is a very wealthy family. You guys all have trust funds, right? And that was what the whole deal was
Yes,
with.
that's correct.
Well, yeah. So you are thinking that your mother was set up because if they have a felony on their record, they lose their trust fund, right?
If you have the only way to lose our trust funds, to lose the rights to our trust, is to die, obviously, or to be convicted of a felony such as conspiracy to commit murder or murder. Normally, that automatically is supposed to transfer the trust immediately down to the children by law and by the laws of the trust.
And
When I
it did.
understand that they haven't done that yet. They're still letting
Oh,
Shonda hold on to hers.
but they took it away from your mother. I mean,
Yep.
oh, you mean
But
because she's
my grandmother
convicted. Shonda's
blackmailed.
convicted, yeah.
The reason we got our trust funds was because when my mother got out of prison and she fought for us to have our inheritance, my grandmother was going to try to take all of it, even though she already had millions of dollars. She didn't want. My mother's family is just selfish like that,
Yeah. So you
and we had to agree that my grandmother could take half. The other half paid the lawyer's fees, the taxes on all of it, and we got what was left. But they kept it under the original laws of the original trust, which not supposed to do.
wow. So I just want to clear it up in case if people weren't understanding. So you think that there's a possibility that your mother was set up so she could lose her trust, set up by her grandmother because there was somebody that worked for her that sounds just like your mother. And we know the big evidence was recordings that they had of your mother,
Mhm.
tape recordings. And you remember walking in one day and hearing somebody you thought was your mother and they were recording something.
It was
And
my nanny.
it was your nanny.
She
Okay.
worked for my grandmother.
Wow.
She had a
Eh,
pill problem.
Ooh,
She died from a pain pill overdose.
man. So yeah, your grandmother is kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
greedy. I don't want to say it, but that's not
No, they
cool.
I
Like
don't know. It's just the way that family is.
to
And
set up
that's
your
why I
own
walked away.
daughter so you don't have to pay what's should be hers, the trust fund.
Well, we're
But
also
so,
talking about the same woman that when she found out her only child died, instead of being at the funeral, she went on a cruise
oh my Lord.
because she didn't want to appear hypocritical, according to what she told me a year later.
Wait, why would you appear hypocritical if you go to your daughter's funeral? I'm confused.
Because she said it was because they'd had conflict in the past. I told her that shouldn't have mattered. I asked her straight
Yeah.
out at 13. I said, why does that matter? That was your child.
Yeah,
Your
that
sister
shit.
was there.
That is wow. Well, that's very telling. That's just you should be. I mean, that's your daughter, and it's your last chance to say goodbye. Wow. Um, let me see what else I got for you. You answered
Yeah, of course.
that. Wow, you answered a lot of them actually.
Hero, go away. Sorry, one of our dogs is giving me looks.
It's okay. So, did Shonda ever talk to you? Growing up, did you guys ever talk about like, oh, wanting to have kids? Did she ever talk to you about that she wanted kids when she got older?
Yeah, she said she wanted kids. She'd always said that I was not allowed to name my daughter after our mother. That she was the only one that was allowed to. I was like, why would I
And she
want to?
did. Yeah, and now
And I even
now
told her
she
straight out.
only
I said,
wanted kids.
why would I want to? Just because
Wow.
mother, doted on you, she didn't dote on me. I don't want anyone named after that woman. I don't want to curse my kid with that.
And and now that
Yeah,
person
she's
that was
changing her
named,
name. I heard.
yeah, it's like now, yeah,
I don't blame
wow.
her.
Mm-mm.
I don't blame her.
But how your grandmother didn't really want kids? She only had one kid. Your mother. Did your
Yeah, she never
mother?
meant to have kids. My grandmother had a drinking problem, in that time, and she knew she just shouldn't be a mother, basically. But she didn't know, so she sent her off to boarding school from the time she was 5. She bought her whatever she wanted. She gave her whatever. She gave my mother whatever she wanted. Like Sean and I, she was a debutante. That was the only way my grandmother knew what to do.
Yeah,
My grandmother wasn't very good at showing emotion, unfortunately.
doesn't sound like it.
I can remember one time when I was 13, we went to see my educational consultant in Atlanta, Georgia, and we were going to walk into the mall across the parking lot, and I was reaching for her hand. I was a child, supposed to hold the hand of an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I reached for her hand, and she reached into her wallet to pull out a 20. And I looked at her and I said, Grandmother, what are you doing? She said, aren't you wanting money? I said,
Oh
no, I
my
wanted
God!
your hand.
Wow.
And she literally, I kid you not, she goes, oh, you can see my hand.
Whoa. Yes.
She,
Yeah.
she didn't know. She didn't know what to do.
Man.
Her sister was more affectionate. I'll give my great aunt that. Her sister, did try to be a lot more affectionate. We went on ski trips actually because of her sister. But my grandmother just didn't know. I don't know what her deal was with that.
Did it seem like Shonda was like that? As an adult, do you know? Like as far as like, I don't know. You probably didn't get to see her around her kids much, huh?
But if she continued like she did around how she was around Eric, I would not be surprised if she was. I mean, I'd heard that she played favorites,
I could see
with her
it.
kid, which makes me sick. If you asked any of my kids who my favorite was, even my adopted daughter, do you know what they tell you?
What?
I didn't play favorites. I didn't have a favorite.
That's the way it should be. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine that crap. But Shonda fell in line with what the family with the family beliefs and the family traditions, and until Liberty. No one in the family was happy about her going to that college.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Yeah. So I don't understand why she would have picked it, because you think she wanted to please people all the time, right? So why did
Trying to
she?
please my stepmother and
Oh,
Danny,
okay.
because that's who she was calling mom at that point.
Wait, who's your stepmother?
When after my mother died, Danny remarried.
Oh,
His
and then you
new
called her
wife
stepmother.
went to
Okay.
Liberty University and graduated with a Christian comedian. I think his name was Mark Lowry. I don't know.
Okay.
I've seen a little bit. He's pretty good. He's pretty funny. But Shanda wanted to fall in that line, and I don't know.
Ooh, you know what? I want to go back to the whole Kenneth Trammell. I forgot to touch
Yeah,
base
of
on
course.
that. So she accused her biological father of molesting her when she was how old?
Was right when they were getting divorced, actually. The night that that accusation came about, we were over at my godmother's house. My godmother and my mother took her into another room and shut the door. And an hour later, they came out, and all of a sudden, Shonda was saying he molested her. I know they both did a lie detector test when she was little. Shonda failed, and he passed with flying colors. But he was also ex-military, so he could have been taught how to be it. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you think? What is your gut telling you? Do you think it happened? Just your opinion.
I know what he did to my sister, Helen. So yeah, I think it's possible.
And you said your
He was
mother
he was
sent
physically
Helen.
abusive to his own sister and his own mother.
Yeah.
So,
So
I
you
mean,
think
he
maybe
was bless
Shonda was
his
telling the
sister's
truth?
heart, you know.
Wow.
Susie and I, you know, she and I, his sister and I haven't always gotten along, but she did the best she could, and she always tried to, you know, be there for us. She saw the favoritism, and she tried to help with it as much as she could, anyway. Ken Trammell was just evil.
So since she failed, he passed. Nothing legally ever came of it.
Well, we were placed on supervised visitation,
Okay.
the physical and everything. Um, DHR didn't, you know, the foster parents didn't follow that. There were a few times when we were in foster care, we were allowed to spend the night with him alone.
What?
And
Oh.
social services knew about it. They did nothing.
Did he ever take Shonda and
No,
by himself?
not in
Okay.
my was forever alone.
Okay. Okay. Um, would you consider Shonda like overly sexual as a teen?
She was definitely boy crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when she tried to wear a bikini at like 13, 14. Oh my God, that was awful.
Wait, why was it awful? What do you mean?
Well, for one, she didn't have a body for it. Okay. She just wasn't, she was like a rail basically at that time. And I mean, we were athletes, you know, swim team, diving team, but it just, yeah, it just didn't suit her. And she put on an American flag bikini that she got from an Avon calendar.
Hmm.
And I'll never forget, she tried to dive off the meter board with that swimsuit on. That didn't end well.
Oh, wow.
And came off.
So they all came. Oh my God.
Yeah, she had a crush on the lifeguard. So I think she was trying to impress him.
Impress him. Okay.
And I was just
Very
like,
interesting.
nope, 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 nope.
So what about your mother dies? She's married to Dan Hosh at the time. She
Yes.
dies. Shonda starts a relationship with him at what she's 15 years old, and so it's basically kind of considered her stepfather at the time, right? And they have a
Yeah.
sexual relationship.
I don't know. I never actually witnessed it. I know what I've been told. I was told that I knew she'd been on birth control at that time. I didn't understand why. I thought it was something else. Um, Shonda was the one that admitted later, and when I tried to talk to him about it, he wouldn't, you know, discuss anything. So I just, you know, just left it alone. Um, but she became more of an authoritative figure than she should have for her age during that time. So do I think that actually happened? Yes, because he tried to hit on me before anything happened with Shonda, and I threatened to hurt him.
Yeah. So wow.
So
And
after
then
that, I mainly dealt with his PTSD episodes.
So that was like a year they were kind of together, and then he ended up
About
having to.
6, 7 months maybe.
Okay.
My mother's family stepped in. And from what I understand, the family told him straight out to get a wife or get out. You have to understand he was getting money. The house we lived in, Shanda and I owned. Our names were on the deed to the house. The car he drove was in our names, fully paid for. He got 1,400 from each of us per month,
Wow.
and the house was fully paid for. Taxes on it were paid. He would have lost all of that.
But so you guys still stayed with him. So when he remarried, you guys were still living with him. Shonda was
Yep.
still living there with the new wife. That had to be awkward.
I don't think my stepmother ever knew about it beforehand. I mean,
Wow.
I'm pretty. I have no doubt it ended once he married, my stepmother.
Yeah.
But I don't think she ever knew. I don't know if he ever admitted to her.
Wait, you don't think that they were hooking up when your mother was still alive, do you?
No,
Okay.
he worked all the time in that time, and when he wasn't working, he would spend time with my mother. So no,
Okay. Um, so I want to talk about the thing you had in your statement about you being pregnant and Shonda hitting you and
yeah, I
basically.
was. It was the day when I went to go stay with Shonda and Eric. She sent Eric to come get me. Now, before she had my uh, Danny and his wife had pushed me out of my house. They had a daughter, and they didn't want me influencing her. So even though it was my house, I couldn't live there. So I went to stay with Ken Trammell. No one had custody of me by that point. I'd come back from boarding school, and Ken Trammell got mad because I wasn't willing to have an abortion. He ended up in
Wow.
the hospital because we got into an argument. He had a stroke. It's not my fault. Let me say it. I didn't do it. But Shonda sent Eric down to come get me, and we got into it one night. I didn't understand anything about pregnancy. It was March of '99. I hadn't had any real prenatal care, so I didn't know anything about growing pains or anything like that. The growing cramps that you'll get as your stomach starts to grow from the baby. So when I started feeling them, it took me by surprise. I didn't know what was going on. My grandmother and I had an argument that night, and Shonda demanded to know what we talked about. I didn't want to talk about it. It wasn't her business. And the moment first she threw an empty box at me. Why an empty box? I don't know. It was shotgun. And I got startled by a flash of pain in my stomach because of the cramping and the growing pains. And Shonda had swung an arm across like this. She got one lucky shot in. I left the apartment. Now, before I did, I grabbed her arm and I drove my elbow into her spine. I made sure I felt that vertebrae crack. I made sure of it. I left her apartment and I was walking down the street. Someone gave me a ride to the police station. He took me to the hospital. I was warned that I probably wouldn't carry because of the blow. I came back to Alabama, and June 5th of '99, I went into the hospital. They just did an ultrasound to find out how far along I was. That's when I found out it was a boy. And I stood up and blood went everywhere.
Mm,
I blacked out. I
man.
came to about 2 hours later. They basically almost overdosed me on magnesium sulfate to stop the contractions and the hemorrhaging. I lost him
Man.
2 days later. I I wasn't I wasn't in labor when I had him. I couldn't breathe. I was coughing. He lived for a minute. He wasn't miscarriage. He was a stillbirth. He died a minute and a half after he was born because his lungs weren't.
Man. And Shonda never apologized. I'm so. Oh, are you okay?
It's all right.
I'm
It always
sorry.
hurt. And it's getting close to that time this year anyway. No, she was proud of it, I think. She
Proud
told
of
the
it. That's
investigator the
chick.
morning after she hit me that brought me back to the apartment that she did it intentionally.
And they didn't do. I mean, how old was Shonda at the time?
19.
19. Yeah, that's
I was 17, but I just wanted to get home. I thought maybe she would regret it later or she would feel something.
nothing, huh?
And I lost him, and she had our youth minister tell me that God was punishing me having him out of wedlock
Wow.
and that he deserved to die.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I don't apologize. That's yeah. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. And you probably were kind of alone going through that, huh? Like, was there anybody there to comfort
My
you or
father was
anything?
already walking out.
Yeah.
Within a month after I lost Jonathan, he wanted to end things. He was glad he was gone too. He believed Shonda. Shonda told him and my godmother that I had lied, that she didn't, that it wasn't her fault.
Yeah.
And my godmother started believing Shonda over me, wouldn't listen to me.
Wow. Yeah. Is that when Shonda was? You said she went through this phase where she was really religious, right?
Yes, it was during that time. She met Eric at Liberty University. How he proposed to
Uh-huh.
her, from what I understand, was actually kind of cute. A
How?
little goofy, but it was cute.
Do you know how did it?
Yeah, he sent her on a scavenger hunt.
Okay.
All kinds of goofy clues all over the campus. I thought it was kind of cute. It was dorky, but
So he has a college degree, Eric?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
So,
You
once
had
everything happened with my oldest son, I didn't really keep up. And then Shonda and I talked in 2001 for a brief moment, and we haven't talked since.
wow. So neither
And
of
he
you
asked
tried
me to
to.
lift the threat on Shonda so that she and Eric could come back to Alabama.
Wait, say that again? Lift the threat, you
When
said?
she tried to cost me my oldest son, I had a coffee table behind me. She had the couch behind her. Now she twisted me at the right angle. I would have gone like this. My stomach would have hit that coffee table. My oldest wouldn't be here now. She was mad because she was trying to hit on John, and he told her straight out if she didn't get her hands off him, he was going to break them. That he was
Mm.
marrying me, and even if she was the last woman on earth, the human race would go extinct because he wouldn't touch her. She got mad and thought, I guess she thought if she showed him she was stronger than me, he would see something different. I don't know. But I slammed her into the couch. I shoved her into the couch. I went to sit next to him, and he jumped up and he told her and Eric to get out of the house or he was going to kill them. And if they ever came back to Alabama, he would not make it quick.
But Eric just let that happen. I mean, Eric, oh,
Yeah,
that's what you're saying. He was
he
watching
let
her
it
hit
happen when
on
she hit me in
him.
the stomach too. He did nothing. He was right there.
So
He just stood there.
so he saw that. Oh, Lordy. That's,
He just stood there.
was
He
he like,
moved when I wanted to leave. She stole my mother's jewelry from me that night that I had brought with me. That was left to me
wow.
because that ring was worth a lot of money. So I'm sure she sold it.
Yeah, I'm sure she did. You probably just wanted to keep it, right? For memories
Yeah,
or
I wanted to keep it. It was beautiful. It was elegant, and I loved the more proper and elegant things.
1 second. I just want
But
to
yeah,
type
Eric
this.
did nothing. He never. Although the look on his face when my ex made that promise, as he would put it, was priceless.
Yeah.
Shonda had made it clear before my ex was not someone you would. He was the bully's bully in high school. That's how she knew him. Their freshman year in high school, she was getting bullied, and he told the kid straight out, "Dude, shut up before I shut you up." They didn't argue after that. And after that, every weekend, Shonda's like, oh, he's going to ask me out this time. Nah, not a chance. Her
You got
senior
him.
year, the other guy that I dated that she liked, actually, she tried to ask him to homecoming. And it's not like he ever got, a lot of invitations or anything. He was kind of dorky. But he was just like, no, thank you, but I'm not interested. I think she quit talking to him after she found out he and I were engaged.
Wow. Yeah, she's
Wasn't
definitely jealous.
intentional. We always hung out.
Yeah, it just happened, huh? And you said you did try to warn your family about Shonda.
Yes.
Like,
My
we got
middle
to
son
stop
and
her.
I had lunch with my great aunt and one of her daughters and her husband. And we tried to tell them, look, if you do not do something, because by this point we knew the kids had been taken. And we were trying to tell them, look, if you don't do something, I said, do what you did with Helen, have her institutionalized. Do something before something bad, really bad happens. They looked me dead in the eye and said, she's done nothing wrong. And if it happened in Alabama, we could have fixed it. My middle son got mad. Like, that's all I needed to hear.
Yeah, that's not cool. They were totally enabling that behavior. So,
Wouldn't be the first family member they protected from child abuse. I had a cousin that admitted in court to abusing his own daughter and got full custody. And he abused my brother and sister.
So your family has a lot of power, huh?
They did at that time. When my grandmother and great uncle were alive, it was like going up against the government to try to go up against that family.
Wow.
My godmother used to say that if the 3 siblings wanted to have a meeting with me, I needed to have a lawyer present.
Hey, chat, I just want to say real quick, I am going to look at chat and I'm going to thank everybody once I get my questions asked, and then we'll see what your questions are. So I'm not ignoring you. That's going to be the end of it. So I see some people like, can she see me? But I don't want to I get sidetracked too easily. So I wanted to stay focused. What's that?
Am I able to pull the chat up?
I don't know. It depends. Are you on a, what are you on right now?
To your panel. Your StreamYard.com.
You should, but are you on a laptop or phone?
Phone. I'm on a phone, but my husband's tablet.
But you know what? Hold up, though. Let's finish these questions because I don't want to get you to get sidetracked because it gets so sidetracked, and then we'll be in chat. So, the next question: did you get to meet some of your nephew, nieces, Shonda's kids now after the fact?
I've spoken to my nephew and my niece. I have not actually met them in person yet. I do hope to. I'm actually hoping to help get Shonda's trust broken and handed to them so they can have, some semblance of the life they really deserve.
Yeah, I think
they're
that's
amazing
awesome.
Kids.
Yeah.
Talking to them, they're absolute sweethearts. They're absolutely incredible. I have not actually met them in person just yet. I did meet Nolan when he was a few months old because that was who Shanda and Eric had with them when they came to see us. So I remember when he was a baby, he was adorable.
Aw, it's like Shonda wanted to hide.
He was just smiling. It was so cute.
Aw. So that's awesome though that you're talking to him and Emmy now. And do you
I found out how many kids and when I found out everything, when I first contacted the detective, I had some stuff happen after that, which is why I didn't try to contact anyone right away. And then I found out, hey, Shonda's being convicted. So I reached out because I wanted them to know, look, your mother, with this going on, you have an inheritance that should be yours. So, and I wanted them to know about their family.
Yeah. Do you think Shonda was trying to keep them, hoping that they wouldn't get the inheritance in some way and keeping it all for herself? And that's why she didn't care when she lost them. And
I mean, the trust bought her 2 houses. They paid for 2 houses for Shonda when they put me on the street. So I would not be surprised. They're not handing it over now. Which if you look at federal law, she's in prison for life without the possibility of parole. So she's legally basically dead for her trust. They should be handing it over.
Yeah, they should.
There's a lot of things they should be doing that they are not.
Wonder if Shonda thinks that she's going to be getting it, like for commissary or oh, I'm
going to be surprised.
I hope not. There's no way, right, that would happen.
No, they cut her off. They're not
Okay.
handing it. From what I understand from the trustees, no, they are not going to handle anything. But they're not going to hand it over to the kids either.
But then who gets it? That's so confusing to
It
me.
will sit there until she dies if we do not stop that.
But then who gets it when she dies? I'm confused. It
It
just
will be split amongst the children,
but
amongst her descendants. Paul G. I don't want to say his name because he's a minor, and I don't want to. But Paul G. and
but they
Nolan,
keep
his
oh,
sister,
so you're
and
saying they have to wait till Shanda dies for them to get it. And you're
if I
trying to
don't
get it so they can get
succeed
it
on trying
now.
to help them get it from them now,
I see.
yes, they will
I
have to
see.
wait. I'm working on that.
Yes, that
Someone's got to
wow.
step in.
Yeah. So tell me about what you thought of the trial. You watched the trial, right?
Oh God, yes. I had to pause it several times because it was so hard for me because hearing some of this. I mean, she took some of the stuff that I was the one that went through and magnified it by 1,000-fold. I was the one that got fed the hot sauce. I was the one,
Wow.
Shonda was attempted it a couple of times in foster care, but I was the one that dealt with the starvation when I was with my mother, not Shonda. So she took that to a whole new level, and it was horrifying. And it was actually very embarrassing. We were taught at a young age how to handle being on a witness stand, how to speak, what to say, how to respond if a lawyer got hostile, what tone of voice to use, what body language to use. We were taught all of that, grilled. She threw that all out the window.
Oh my God.
I don't know what she was thinking. You might as well have been the title for World's Dumbest Killer.
That was embarrassing to watch. I mean, it was
It was,
if any
oh, it was awful.
like, I felt embarrassed for her and I can't I just like what about
Horrible.
that fake panic attack and like the fake throwing up? I mean, were you buying that? No.
No. Oh, we were laughing actually when my husband and I saw that. This is my husband, everybody. He's hysteric.
Derek, hi, Derek.
Oh, we were
Um,
laughing about it. Even my husband, before I could even respond, say anything, he looked at it. He's like, she's faking that, right? I said,
yeah.
"Yep." And he's like, this is pathetic.
Oh my gosh. And how she's like, oh, like the victim and everything. She makes herself the victim with everything, it seems like. It's like,
She
oh,
made a
and
choice. Yes, we went through abuse and foster care, but let me make something clear. We had a choice. She chose to become the worst version of herself possible and follow in the family bloodline. I chose to be better. It was a
yeah.
choice. It was not based on, I went through more abuse than she did. I took some of the abuse from her so she wouldn't have to deal with it. I didn't abuse my kids.
Mm. And David
I
doesn't
don't
have any
do
kids.
anything psycho like that.
Helen
Ask
has
my
a
husband.
son, you said. What's that?
I said, I don't do anything psycho like that. Ask my husband.
Wow. Aw. Well, that's good. Break the cycle. Oh shoot, where did that go? So what about Paul? Do you believe Shonda's more to blame than Paul, or do you think they're equally to blame? How do you see that?
No, I do think that in a lot of ways, I do feel that Shonda is definitely more to blame there because I do think that he was manipulated to a high degree, but he still had a choice. He knew. He proved that in the text message when he said he's getting a little skinny. I think we should actually feed him.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
then call the police. Get him out of the house. This ain't rocket science.
yeah. I think he
But
enjoyed
Shonda seemed to have an iron grip.
she did. She did.
So I feel bad for him on that. I hope he
Do
gets
you,
help.
what do you think's going on with him? Do you think he's autistic?
I think he's on the spectrum.
You do? So did you watch his sentencing and what the judge said about him? Like, do you agree with what the judge said about him? I'm not sure if you watched that.
I did. I
Okay.
watched what I could of it because the whole thing just, I mean, it was like watching a circus. This whole thing's just like a circus to me at this point. I do agree that, he needed to be held accountable. I don't think that he had the remorse at that time that he should have had. I hope that he will. But that can also go in line because if you looked at him when he was testifying, one of the first things he would do as he would answer a question is he would look right over at Shonda and
Uh,
look down. I know what that's like because I went through that with my mother. That's a control thing. That's looking over to say, oh, is it okay if I.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
still had some iron control, even then, which is
Yeah.
sad because she destroyed a 20-year-old's life. She kills a 15-year-old boy. Sweet, and when I understand, he was such a sweet boy, innocent
Mhm.
life. She destroys another one.
Yeah. What about her? I mean, you saw the text messages, right? The constant like thinking that Timothy was faking it and he was just trying to do it to like win, and we're not going to let him win. Do you think there's any?
Yeah, it's like she was in competition with him.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, she used to pull that crap with me, trying to compete with me when we were kids. I never cared. But it was like she was trying to compete on who was stronger, who was more stubborn. It's like, really? Are you two?
so I mean, do you think she really believed that he was faking it though? Because I mean, I look at it like he's autistic. He's not going to behave the
I
same
think
way
in
as
her
somebody that's not.
arrogance, I think on one end, I think she enjoyed the power she had. She was enjoying hurting him. He was weaker.
Man.
My family's not very good with weakness.
So she looked at him as weak. So then, but then I'm just still trying to figure out if like she really thought he was trying to do it on purpose. She just didn't
I
understand
I
what
think
autism.
that in her delusional mind, she thought she could fix him, and maybe she got convinced herself down the road that no, he's faking. He's got to be faking. I can fix this. I can show it.
Yeah.
I can prove this. He was
Yeah.
like this for his entire life. How is that faking?
Yeah. I don't think she
That's a
was
long
knowledgeable
time
enough
to fake
about
something.
autism. Yeah.
It's insane.
So what about Paul's sentence? Do you think that that was harsh
Fair.
or perfect? What's that?
Well, I do think 30 years is a good thing. But I think that part of that should be based on him getting help because I think that he needs therapy. He's going to need a lot of psychological therapy for this.
Yes.
I feel I would like to believe that with help and medication, maybe he would be better, get through this.
You think? So I was
It's no, I have
wondering.
no doubt she abused him. That's a guarantee just from the way he reacted.
Like abuse them like physically, or what do you mean by that? What do
Physically,
you,
mentally, emotionally.
I'm still wondering if there was any like
Yeah, I do wonder on that, but I won't speculate if I don't have facts
yeah,
on that. So
yeah,
that wouldn't be right.
yeah, that's true. So you do think that he's able to be rehabilitated maybe with therapy and medication then?
I'd like to believe so, yeah. I have hope for it.
And you would like to maybe possibly go visit him sometime and talk to him? What would you say to him?
I'm sorry. I'm here if you want to talk. And regardless, I love you. I'm angry, but I'll try to help.
So you'll be there to support him if
Try to.
and what about Shanda?
Oh, I want to see her face to face. I thought it amusing she had no emotion in her court hearing. Did you notice that? When she testified, even just sitting there was no real emotion. I
Yeah.
promise you, she would have emotion if she saw me face to face. And it
You
would
said
be
fear. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Okay.
Shonda may
And
have gotten one lucky shot in one time, but I've beaten the crap out of her a few times. Alina's in chat. She could tell you. She's seen me drop her to the ground a couple times.
wow. I mean, do you
But I
plan
would want
on
to
maybe
face her
visiting
just to
her?
ask how she
Yeah.
had walked
Yeah. Somebody needs to confront
after
her.
everything that we went through. And I would tell her straight out, if Mother were alive today, even she would be sickened at what she's done. And I know that would affect her more than
That
anything.
will get her right there. Yes,
That
because
would
she
kill
would
her.
be. Yeah.
Even our mother wouldn't have gone this far. I mean, she starved me for 3 days,
No.
but that's even she
Yeah.
wouldn't have taken it to this kind of an
Yeah.
extreme.
All right, I'm going to go in chat now. I asked all the questions.
Yeah, of course.
Melba, thank you for joining. Kelly Stinson, thank you. Allie B from Tennessee, I'm sorry for all you went through. We are only 5 minutes or so in, and it's already super heavy. So this was a little while ago. She said, God bless you, Paige. Thank you, Allie. Down the rabbit hole. Thank you for speaking out and helping us understand all the chaos you grew up in. I'm sorry for what happened to you. Thank you, Down the rabbit hole. And Donna,
It's all right.
thank you for joining. Donna,
I'm just
thank you again.
happy that I
Wow.
can answer people's questions. I feel like I have a responsibility to do so, and I have an obligation to do so because she's the one that made all of this national. People deserve, have a right to have an answer.
Yeah, even her kids. I mean, they didn't even know her side of the family or anything about anything. It's just like, wow. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you. Be kind and mindful. All right, I'm going to see if we got any questions here. And yeah, thank you so much for
Yeah, of course.
answering these questions. I mean,
Anytime.
that is really awesome of you to share such personal stories, with us, so we can understand. Try to understand how this happened. How could somebody
Better to answer
do
with
what
the
they did?
truth than allow misinformation to fly.
Yes. Ooh, I got a lot. Thank you. A lot of questions. I mean, okay, so scared she calls. Oh, I bet you a lot of these are going to be answered through the thing. Okay, hold on one second. And if you want to, so you said, oh, thanks, Sarah. Let me read this. So Sarah said, thank you for being here for this insightful interview, Paige. You are a strong woman. You should be proud of yourself for breaking the cycle of generational abuses. So sorry for all you endured. Oh, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
I'm trying to think.
I'm not anything special. I just chose to be better. I saw the evil, and I didn't want to be a part of that. I'm just
Yeah,
doing
and you chose the right.
what
Yeah.
everybody should do is the right thing.
Mm. So Willow has a question. Are
Yeah,
were you surprised what Shonda did? Did it surprise you?
to a degree, yes, but based on the baseline, not really. I knew she was going to do something bad if she ever got around her kids again. That's why I tried to talk to the family. I begged them to take them.
Man. Ugh. Down the rabbit hole says, wow, thinking about how Shonda lived and how she didn't really provide for her kids, but she had a trust the whole time. Yeah. And
That makes me so mad because I have an inheritance. Okay. Shonda, they bought. Okay, let me explain something. This tells you how discriminated I am against my other siblings. My brother, they would give like 1,600 a month, but he has no kids. Okay. Shonda, they bought 2 houses and a few cars. They put me on the street several times. I slept in a car a few times. I had to argue and scream and threaten just to, I had to blackmail them to make sure they paid my child support. Because when I got divorced from my ex-husband, I had a lot of health issues. I was going through chemo and I didn't know what was going to happen. So I handed him full custody. And when I wanted joint back, I still didn't have a place or anything. The trust wasn't helping. So we agreed on joint legal, but I wanted the kids taken care of because I still didn't know, my health was still iffy. So I knew having full joint custody wouldn't have been wise. They wanted to base it on my income distribution, which was 600 a month. Shonda got 2 houses and cars. I barely got 600 a month. That would have only been $100 for 3 kids. I wasn't going to allow that. So I blackmailed my trust. I threatened to relinquish my rights to my trust to have it passed down to my kids. So they'd have to deal with my ex if they didn't pay my child support. I
wow.
put myself on the street a few times to make sure those kids had everything they wanted.
There has to be something. I mean, that's just not right. There's got to be something that you can do. This is just,
I'm trying. I'm working on it.
I know. I hope. I hope. So Mr. N says, ask if Eric was an addict. Paul asked Trish. Oh, that's true. So in one of the phone calls, Paul asked Trish if he relapsed, and we were wondering if was he an addict or something? Like, because that's a term for
Yeah,
relapsing.
that's the term for someone with substance abuse.
Yeah.
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. I mean, anyone would turn into an addict having to deal with Shonda. Being
Yeah,
married
that's
to her.
true. That's true. So
They
Joy,
married her. I'm sure anybody would become an addict.
that's so true though. Joy Chadwick asks, does Paige feel that Eric should be held accountable?
Yes. Absolutely. In fact, he put a post up I saw of some meal or something on Facebook once. I decided to comment on it. Everybody was attacking him. And I was like, I think it's funny. I said, I don't know why you chose to send Timothy to her after you knew what happened in 99 and 2000. I think it's funny. I hear you're a hard ass now. Why don't you come back to Alabama and I'll show you how much you're not? He deleted the post.
He
So I don't get to
deleted
show it
it.
to anybody. It's not fair.
Yeah,
I've heard that, after Shonda, he became like a real jerk. It's like, really? Because I always remember that, goofy, not, Shonda could get away with anything person. Literally.
yeah.
I hope he gets held accountable. I hope he's
I know.
extradited, and I hope he faces as much time as his son, at the very least as his son did. Because that's what he deserves.
I wonder. I mean, I don't know. You think there's a chance
He's an
that
accessory. He is an
yeah,
accessory after the fact. He knowingly sent Timothy up there.
and that will like
So
she would not
he broke the
have.
law. He violated a court order.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
became an accessory after the fact.
But I wonder if he can't use it an excuse. Well, I didn't know that.
There is
No, because
excuse.
there's no way he didn't know.
Because
Yeah.
legally, Timothy
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be around her without supervised visitation. So either way, he violated a court order.
I bet
He
he's
knew.
kind of scared because I
I
mean,
hope he is. I really hope he is.
Down the rabbit hole at bedtime says, does the rest of the family who are still part of the business shun Shonda's part of the family? Wait, part of the business.
I don't really talk to that part of the family anymore. But I know that no one in the family is having anything to do with Shonda at this point. They've washed their hands of it.
And you've talked to Helen after this all happened, right? And she's she knows. I mean, she watched the trial.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't suggest trying to talk to, anyone on that side of the family. Most of them are, I would say, are compromised, unfortunately. If there's one phrase that would sum up my family perfectly, it is the phrase from John Acton, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And most of my family have a price tag.
yeah, I mean, very true.
I had an instance before my grandmother passed when she wanted to see my kids. She called them the heirs to the trust. I said, they're children, not property, right? She said, whatever, how much do you want for me to see them? I said, huh?
Wow.
She's like, how much? And I said, that is why you will not. I said, because my children are not for sale. And that was the only time I spoke to her.
Yeah, they're definitely the money is the main concern with them, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did go over what you thought of Paul's part in this. Okay, let's see here. Are there other children on the spectrum in your family other than Timothy?
My oldest son.
Okay. Yeah.
My oldest son has Asperger's. He has a full-time job. He works at McDonald's. And I saw him just last week, and yes, my kids are aware of what's happened. They are completely horrified.
Wow. And they've never met Shonda, right? They wouldn't.
No, but they know what's happened. I've never hidden anything. That's another stark difference between me and my sister. My kids, I knew everything about my family, about what happened between me and Shonda. They know Shonda tried to cost us Michael. They know everything. They were reading trust statements at 8 years old. I made them look at them because I wanted them to understand this is what you were going to have one day. You need to, prepare for this. Shonda didn't tell them anything.
Yeah, that I can't even believe she was going to try to keep it from them, I'm telling you. So this question's actually came up a few times. Why did David use the last name Warner for a while? It was in the Trammell obituary, Warner. I know that's your grandmother, but
I don't think that was intentional.
Okay.
Now his middle name was Warner at one time, so maybe that's what
his middle name was.
Yes, my brother's first
Oh.
name was not David after Ken Trammell adopted him. I will not give you his real name because I'm going to be nice to my brother on that one. My poor brother on that name, bless his heart. Um, but no, his name was changed when Ken Trammell
Oh.
adopted him.
You said after Ramsey adopted you guys, or you after you
No,
guys went, didn't you say
uh,
you were able to change your names or something, your middle name, or what were you
yes.
telling me?
Well, my mother knew a judge in Alabama. Okay, and we wanted to change our names because I loved Hank. He was the best dad I could have asked for. He was a sweetheart, and I was crushed when he died. I was devastated, and my mother, we didn't want the last name Trammell because of the things that we've been through. So my mother went to the judge and got our names legally changed to Ramsey against Ken Trammell's. I mean, he tried to fight it. He lost, obviously. When we were changing our names, we were offered the opportunity to change our middle names if we wanted to. Shonda, of course, chose my mother's middle name. I chose my mother's sister-in-law's middle first name as my middle name, Hank's
Okay.
sister.
Okay.
She and I
So,
were pretty close when I was little.
so wait, what did you say, Shauna? What was, I forget what her middle name is that she chose?
Margaret. Her
Margaret.
original
That's
middle
right.
name was Kay, Kay.
Kay. That's what you said. Okay.
After I was 18, I changed mine back to Trammell because I decided to
Oh,
stop running.
wait, why would you change? I'm confused. Why would you want to change it back to Trammell?
Well, I felt like I was running from who I was, and I didn't want to run.
Hmm.
I decided I was going to face who I am. I didn't discover until during that time, actually, was when I discovered that my mother's fourth husband actually turned out to be my biological dad.
Oh, so that was, I see. I was gonna say, like, what? But you didn't
Yeah,
even
well, yeah,
know.
I actually
Okay.
knew that Ken Trammell wasn't my dad after my mother died because I found her deathbed confession tape. I wish I still had it, actually.
Wait, she had a
Um,
deathbed confession tape?
yes, she
Whoa.
did. Yes, she did. 2 weeks before she passed away, she had a deathbed confession tape, and I did get a little affection from her before she died. 2
Tell
days
that
before she.
story. You told me that story. If you, I mean, only if you want to share it.
No, it's fine. My mother didn't like me being around when she was, the hospice nurses would have to sedate her for me to sit next to her, just to spend time with her because she didn't want me around. Um, but 2 days before she died, Shonda had graduated from Space Academy Level 2. We all went to space camp for Space Academy, your aviation challenge. I went to space camp twice. Well, I had gotten my mother a carnation and a balloon because I knew that was my mother's favorite flower, was the red carnation.
Mhm.
And I sat down next to her bed. She didn't yell, so I figured, okay. So I started telling her about Shonda's graduation. My mother hadn't been able to move. She was in the hospital bed, literally holding her arms up like this for the last 3 months before she
Wow.
died. And I told her, everything about Shonda's graduation, and she was smiling. So I took a chance and I tried to hug her. And I finally felt an arm around me.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
hadn't been able to move in 3 months. And at that point, my dad, my stepdad, had walked in the room. Shonda had come down the stairs and he freaked and he's like, "Oh my God." And she was smiling when I pulled away. I was in shock. And he asked her, "Can you do that again?" And she grinned and she put both arms around me. Shonda was furious. She ran back up the stairs and slammed the door. He patted her on the foot and he said, "You're going to be okay." He walked out of the room and I looked at her. I said, "You're not going to be okay, are you? You're about to die."
Mhm.
She said, "Yeah." She said, "I'm sorry." She said, "I want you to promise me something." I said, "Name it. You're my mother." She said, "I want you to look after your siblings, look after your dad. They won't be able to handle this. And you've always been stronger." So I did for as long as I could.
Wow. That's something. It's almost like she knew you didn't need that. I mean, it's no excuse because I mean, a child needs their mother's love, but it's almost like maybe she just knew that you didn't need her. You know what I'm saying? And Shonda needed it more. I mean, it could be a
Possibly, yeah.
possibility at the growing up, and but Yeah. Wow.
Even my dad, even Danny's mother, before she died, as it turned out, told him that I was the strongest and the best of the four because I was the one that never backed down.
Yeah.
It's gotten me in trouble a couple times.
And it's probably made Shonda so jealous. Or yes,
Like I will
growing up.
admit, I'm
I
not
bet.
perfect. I have made mistakes in my
Yeah.
life that I am not proud of. Nothing anywhere close to what Shonda's done. Don't get me wrong, but there are things I wish I could change. But I have no remorse about how I raised my kids.
So Tanel asks, why would you choose? I think she's talking about to you. Why would you choose to live in a small flat in poverty instead of using her trust fund? But first of all, how do you know? Or I'm confused that question. Sorry.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I'm not
know.
understanding the question either. Live in a small flat. Well, I don't get much of my trust. I get 600 a month. And I didn't start getting that until after all my kids graduated high school.
They're probably me because remember you told a story how you were out and maybe they're talking about when you were out on
Living
the
on the
streets
street.
and stuff.
Well,
Yeah, they're
I
probably
had
like
given up
wondering, well, why?
because I wanted my kids taken care of. So I gave up. I relinquished my rights to my income distribution to take care of them. So I didn't receive anything from my trust.
I don't understand it completely. I'm trying to learn. Like, it just seems like it's so
It's an irrevocable trust, but it is discretionary,
discretionary. Yes, okay.
which means they
That's
could cut it down to $1 a day if they wanted to.
uh, um
Now they're not supposed to. They're actually supposed to help provide income, transportation, housing, medical. They don't. Not for me anyway.
I don't
The nice
understand
thing
how
I
they
think they've
could
done
do that.
lately was
That's
they
just
did give me a little birthday money for my birthday.
oh, wow, thanks. I mean, it's only
All right.
yours, you know. Here's a question from Trisha. She says, "What does Paige think of Shonda's gay for the stay relationship, like her new girlfriend?"
Oh God. Oh, I have to wonder actually if maybe that's partly because she's trying to make sure she doesn't get the crap beat out of her all the time in the prison. Maybe she's goes ahead and submits to somebody, she'll be safe.
No, this person isn't in jail. She isn't in prison with her. It's on the
Oh,
outside.
really? Oh my,
Yes.
that is
I don't.
wow. Well, to each their own.
Yeah.
That's not something I would, I've
But
never
like
been curious
growing
about
up,
anything
you
like that.
never
So
anybody in your family or she's
my
never.
sister,
Oh
my other
yeah,
sister
yeah.
is
She
gay,
okay, okay.
and my half brother is gay. And actually, my great aunt's daughter, my cousin, yes, she named one of her own kids after herself. I have a cousin named after her own mother, named Helene.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
She is gay, so there is
Okay,
some of that, in the family,
okay,
which is fine.
okay. And
My
it's
middle
fine.
son's gay, so
So it's they're accepting of that in your
yes,
family. Okay, okay. Um,
it's a very liberal family.
okay. All right. There's a couple other questions I start here. The whole thing with animals, how she's pretty good with dogs, right?
Yeah, that's
Like
actually
she's
kind of. I mean, I don't remember ever trying to train any dogs when we were little. We handled a lot of rescued animals because my mother had a thing about rescuing animals. But when we were younger, the dogs we had in the house, the cats didn't really want to be around her.
oh my
She would
god,
pick
yeah.
one. There was one that was like a basset hound dachshund mix named Liza. That dog slept with me, but Shonda claimed it was her dog.
But she wasn't abusive. Like she was
No, she
affectionate
was never
with
abusive.
okay.
She was loving. She always tried to be as sweet as she could to the animals,
That's interesting.
which
Like
is
just
really
treat
weird
my kids like
considering.
crap, but make sure my dogs are taken care of.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course. Hey, my grandmother had two rooms for her cats. Okay, they had a playroom in her house. They had their own bedrooms, but she left her grandkids, her daughter's only living descendants, nothing after she took from them. So it goes along the bloodline, I guess. Pass it down, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, oh
I mean, my
yeah.
great aunt's not like that with her kids, but my grandmother, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe the
What is
alcohol got to her too much.
yeah. But Mr. M, did Shonda say she was diabetic? Because
She said
Mr.
something
M,
about reactive hypoglycemia.
that's
I had to
right.
look that up. You know what's messed up about that? I was the one diagnosed with stress-related hypoglycemia when I was little, but Shonda never
Uh,
had a bit of a problem. The only
so
reason I
you,
did was because I'd been so malnourished, and then, when I was 13, my Danny would hand me Slim Fast and tell me I was
oh, you
chubby.
told me that.
Shonda
Yeah.
encouraged it,
Wow.
but she never had a blood sugar problem. She had a weight problem.
Yeah.
She had a problem getting weight off.
So I just wonder if she like took little things like you said, pretended some of the stuff that you went through or you had, and she's
That's what
become
it
all
looks
of
like to
them.
me because, I mean, PTSD, come on. The
Wait,
way
was
she
she always the
describes her
kid?
PTSD, I'm sorry. I do have severe PTSD. I was diagnosed with it 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And when you have an episode, yeah, you'll black out a little bit, but it doesn't last for 6 months straight.
Yeah, right,
And you don't
right.
torture somebody
Yeah.
because of your PTSD. My husband deals with PTSD because of past relationships and because he was in the military. He's never, I've dealt with his PTSD episodes and it's never lasted, more than a little bit. And there's
Yeah,
always remorse
Jesus.
afterwards. You feel the
Yeah.
pain after the anger. So no.
But like growing up as a kid, was she always playing the victim? Like always acting
Yes.
like, oh, I'm sick, or I
When I
have
got
this. I don't.
laryngitis, she decided she had laryngitis so she could stay home and get the apple juice and butterscotch
Oh,
candy and everything.
figures. Wow.
Even got my mother to get her a doctor's note.
So what are your thoughts about Paul's fiance and Paul having a fiance that's what, 48? Like 20, how much older is that? Paul's what,
It's
22, 23?
well, I don't agree with it at all. I even told my oldest about it, and he was just like, "What?" I don't think it's appropriate, and I think it's very strange. But I don't know the woman, so I can't really, I'm not going to pass, a judgment on someone I've never met or spoken to at the very least. It wouldn't be right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's appropriate, and I think it's ridiculous,
Do you
and
think
I
it'll
don't see
last?
why. Mm,
No, you don't. Okay. Yeah, I don't either, actually.
how
There's
could
no
it?
way.
He's looking at 30 to life, which means he might get out in 15 to 20. A lot can happen in that time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. Hopefully he'll I don't know if we'll yeah, I don't know if we'll find out probably. Like what happens between them if they stay together. I'm sure
I'm sure we
somebody will
will.
tell somebody. Yeah. Um,
Of course.
let me see if I got any more questions. Yeah. So I answered that. Thank you though, Harley Ryder, for the super chat. Pause fiance. And we already touched base on, you said you probably will end up reaching out to Shonda sometime just so you can meet her, see her face to
Yeah,
face again.
I would like to, mainly because I want to face her on all of this. I have talked to a court TV producer some as well, because I know if these questions don't get answered, there's no telling what kind of crap is going to be made up to
Yeah.
justify and make excuses. So the best thing to do is just tell the truth and just let it come out. So I don't know what's going on with that. I did bring up to her that I would like to face her. She said it might be a possibility. So I'm hopeful. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to save up and just go face her on my own.
Wait, who did you say? Who did you tell that to, though? I'm confused.
Producer at Court TV.
Oh, you told a producer. Okay, I see what you're
Well,
saying.
I reached out because I was like, well, thank you for covering my sister's, trial. I'm sorry about all this. If you have a question, just let me know. She's like, really? And we talked a little, and she mentioned they wanted to do a documentary and asked if I'd be willing to answer some questions. And I said, it's got to come out somehow. Best thing to do.
Yeah, I would do
So
it definitely.
I
Court
would,
TV's good. That's
like I said,
my
I have an
go-to for.
obligation as far as I'm concerned because she is my sister. I'm the one
Yeah,
she was never separated from. I'm the only one that can answer a lot of the questions. The right
yeah,
thing to do is just tell the truth.
yeah. So do you know when that's going to happen?
Not yet. I'm sure I'll hear. I'll let you know.
Yeah, let
I
me
know I'll
know.
keep you posted. I
I
still got to
love
send
Court
you those
TV.
recipes.
Yeah,
What's that?
thank you.
You can pick which
um,
one you want me to bake.
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for reaching out. That's so awesome that you reached out. And then that's why Court TV was probably surprised, because normally it's like we have to try to reach out to the people and find people to, to interview as far as about the case. But that's awesome that you reached out. Because I really wanted to talk to you. When I read that statement, I'm like,
I
she
saw
probably
your
won't
video.
talk to me. It's like, I don't think she will,
Oh,
but
by the
man, I would
way,
love to talk to her.
you got that picture, right, of Helen in the hospital?
Yes. Hold on.
Yeah, pull that up real quick.
Yeah. All right. Here it is.
That is me.
You guys,
It's
this
not a
was
little girl.
Paige.
That is
Remember?
10 years ago. I had gotten my gallbladder removed.
You do look like young and little, but so this is her sister Helen.
Yes.
And then so and we kind of just skimmed over the part where Helen was sent away to.
Yeah, well, Helen, what happened with that was when I was 4 and she was 12, Ken Trammell had injured me. He attacked me. In fact, if you can zoom in, you see my cheek?
Oh, hold on. Let me bring up a picture I could zoom in. Hold on one second.
Yeah. You see my cheek? You see the line here?
Oh, you're showing the cheek. I thought you wanted me to zoom
Yeah,
in.
no, I was trying to show you. You see
Oh,
the line right here?
Okay, yeah.
That was from Ken Trammell. Butcher knife.
What? Oh my
He was
God.
drunk. I have a scar on my leg from a hot poker. Well, the night that those things happened, oh my God, this man, he was drunk. So he tried to open a coconut with a butcher knife.
Wow.
I don't know
okay.
if he was drunk. Okay. Well, Helen got mad because she'd seen what happened to me. As he brought that knife down into that coconut, she rammed straight into him.
Oh.
The coconut got knocked out of his hand, and I kid you not, the knife went this far through his hand.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
She was kicked out of the house that night, and sent to the family in Tuscaloosa. After that, I believe she was institutionalized for a little while.
Where did
I
that
really
go?
blame family for a lot of what's happened with her because, they could have handled things with her so much better.
So how long was she sent away for?
Several years, I believe. I visited her once when she was in an institution when I was little.
Did they treat her bad in the institution? Did she ever tell you?
I don't know. She never talked about it.
Wow.
Helen, at that time, Helen tried to be more optimistic and positive on things. And, she was just happy that, when she got to see Mother again, 'cause after that, she didn't see Mother except for a few months before Mother died. That was the only time Mother agreed to see her, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, I can't. Oh, so Mia Spaghetti, what is you asking? Feel free not to answer. How do you feel about Trish knowing where and the environment Timothy was going to? She knew as much as Eric, don't you think?
I agree. I think that when Eric talked about sending Timothy to Shonda, she should have reported him. But other than that, there's not really anything she could have done.
Yeah,
She
that's
was not the
really
biological parent.
not.
She had no
Yeah.
custodial rights. There wasn't really much she could do.
I agree.
She didn't have power or pull like Danny did. Danny, before, it was known that he was my biological dad, which my stepmother didn't even know about, by the way. She's going to find out now.
Whoa.
Ken Trammell was the one on my birth certificate. When I was sent to boarding school, he tried to get custody, and I tried to choose to live with him to get out of the boarding school. I was sent away for pressing charges against him for child abuse. My family sent me away to shut me up. And the judge refused to make a judgment until I chose to stay with Danny. She would not make a judgment unless I chose Danny.
Huh. So wait, what was the judgment then? I'm confused here.
He got to keep custody because he had my family's backing.
Oh, wow.
In Alabama, it's in the South, and then down here, it's who you know and who has pull. It's usually how it is most places these days.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you don't have to answer this question. It's up to you. But Molly Leggett says, who manages the trust? What family member, or is it a bank?
There are two parts to that. We have the financial institution that handles the corpus of the trust, and that would be the bank. And then we have my great aunt, who is the co-trustee, who is the main decider. You know, it goes in front of a board of trustees for a decision, but in the end, my great aunt is the one that can say yes or no. And if she says no, well, that's it. When she retires from it, which I understand is supposed to be soon, she'll be passing it down to one of her daughters, which
Okay.
is going to be just as difficult, if not worse, because they don't like me very much.
Did your great aunt like Shonda? Were they
She
close?
did
Yeah.
until all of this stuff.
Does Paige? This is a question from Anatolia. Does Paige know why Shonda lost her kids the first time?
I heard it had something to do with abuse. I mean, she put it all over Facebook. Her classmates contacted me because they were literally. I had a couple of her classmates calling me saying, "You know what your sister just put on Facebook?" I said, "Do I look like I pay attention to Shonda?" He said, "You need to see this." And I was like, "I don't want to look on her Facebook. Just tell me." And they said, "Your kids got taken away for child abuse. She acts like she's proud of this."
Man.
Well, you know how Shonda is. I mean, not much to say there. And that's when I started trying to talk to the family. I was like, "Are you guys going to do anything? Something?" They wouldn't do anything.
Nothing. Wow.
They stepped in with my sister Helen, but they wouldn't do anything about Shonda.
But wait, so if they got taken away and then Shonda didn't get custody of them, would the trust still go to them, or they would just be out of it? I mean, how does that work?
No, the only way. No, they would have still. They would still. They're the future beneficiaries. The way it works is we are the primary beneficiaries, which we are the ones that it focuses on right now. And our children, our descendants, are the future beneficiaries. So when something happens with us, it gets passed down and broken.
Okay. You're a badass, Paige. Thanks for much for being here, Soul Food Pogo. Aww. Oh,
Really
Donna
not that
Flynn,
special. I
thank you
swear, I'm
for
just me.
no, but you are pretty awesome,
so
and it's so awesome that you're willing to that you came on here and willing to answer questions for
I
us.
respect. You have been so resourceful and everything, and you've been straightforward and honest with, as best as you could. I respect that.
Oh, thank you. I respect you too. Yeah, and you helped out with that. Thank you, Donna Flynn, Sarah's mom. Thank you for joining. Well, I think that's all the questions. I am not seeing any more questions. Maz, or did I miss any? I think we covered a lot. You answered a lot of questions. I hope you know that. No, you did a good job. Everybody's like, wow, awesome interview. So, yeah.
I'm happy to.
Let's see if I miss. Yeah. I think we'll wrap it up. Well, thank you for coming on, and I mean, we'll be in touch still.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Got to give me those recipes.
Gotta pick one.
And hang in there, be strong. You got this. I know it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
It is, but
you're going through.
I have my husband.
That's awesome.
Let me show you, because he's the only one in here right now. So I'm gonna.
Oh,
Hero. Look up. You're on TV.
Hi, you're famous.
Yeah, Hero.
That's a nice looking dog. Wow. What? Wait, Hero? You said?
Yes, this is the male. His name is Hero. He is a Jack Russell Terrier.
Cute. He's a beautiful dog. Hero.
Oh,
handsome boy. Oh, you're being shy. Wow, he's cute.
He's mommy's little angel, trust me.
Mm.
And that's actually what I call my boys. I used to love asking him when they were younger. I'd ask them, "Are you mommy's little angels?" And they said, "Yes, ma'am, always." I have a funny story for you. When they were younger, one time I was at my ex's, and my ex-husband goes up to my middle son and goes, "Well, that makes you daddy's little devils too, right?" And my son looked at him and just glared at him. It was so cute. He was like 7 years old and goes, "No, daddy, devils are evil. You're evil." He goes, "Yep, don't forget it." And after that, we saw a police officer at Walmart. And he actually went up to the officer and he was like, "We're mommy's little angels, but we're not daddy's devils, because devils are evil and daddy's evil." He looked at me and said, "I didn't do it. I swear to God." It's not my fault.
Oh, that's cute. Bella says, "I've been listening quietly. Thank you, Paige. You're awesome. I wish you all the best." Aw, the Bellas. Thank you. All
Glad I
right,
could help.
guys. Yeah, you definitely did. You definitely did.
Oh,
I'm
trust
gonna
me, I have
wrap.
all kinds of funny stories. Yes, Shonda's book smart, but we're talking about the same person I had convinced for 6 months that gullible had been taken out of the dictionary. Come
You
on,
told
man.
me that. That's so
I'm serious.
funny. Oh my
She went around for
god.
6 months asking people, why'd they take gullible out of the dictionary?
Oh my
Finally, she comes up to
gosh.
me. Someone told her, did you look? So she comes up to me all mad. She's like, why did you tell me that? I said, why did you believe me? I mean, come on.
Yeah, why? I mean, didn't she get the like
He was
the
like,
humor in
yeah,
us,
you
like
know I was
gullible?
joking. I mean, come on, man.
Oh my
I was rolling
god.
my eyes as I said it.
That's too much.
I'm a
Oh, I
terrible
served
wife,
you.
so me trying to lie, I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's funny. So she's no common sense. I could see that, her having like not much common sense, but just book smart. And oh, she's so
She was
proud of
always
like
book smart.
her accomplishments. I mean, you saw her at sentencing, like, oh, let me correct this. Let me correct this. This is how you spell this. This is just like, oh my god,
Oh,
it
how to
doesn't matter. You're
spell the
doing life. It
name.
doesn't matter.
Oh my God. I've
Oh
always just,
yeah,
I mean, I've talked to my kids about things I've done in my life, like, doing athletics and things like that, but come on.
yeah,
If you go on my Facebook, you're not going to see all that crap listed. It's
yeah.
not that big a
That was just,
deal.
especially that was not the
And
proper
in that
place to.
situation, that is just
Yeah, not at
a
all.
trashy thing to do. That is something only
Mm-mm.
trash does.
Yeah. And I think she thought it was gonna, like, help her out or something. It doesn't, I mean,
That's
what is,
exactly what she expected.
like, no, it's not gonna help.
You could see it all over her face. That's exactly what she expected. She expected
It
she was
is.
still, even my husband has said the same thing. She was still in her delusional mind going to get away with this, even
Yep,
then. And from what I
yep.
understand from you, she's trying to write a book. She's going to write a book about losing a dog, but she won't think about her kid that she killed. Are you kidding me? And the sad part is there's people out there that are stupid enough that will buy it.
Oh, there will be, but I don't think she'll be able to, well, no, it's usually if they can't make money off of the crime, but I don't know if I don't think she'd be able to even sell that book. I mean, who would even
Well, there'll be stupid
publish
people
it?
that will buy it.
No.
You'd be
She said
surprised.
like her
There's a lot of them.
inmate, oh, they loved it. Whoever read it, and her cellmate or somebody in jail or prison or whatever, they said, oh, she thought it was really good. It's like, oh my lord, yeah, I
No.
bet. um,
And I don't even understand the idea of trying to write a book. Because if you're going to
yeah,
write a book about this family, it would take a whole anthology to deal with all the crap in this family.
you
No
should
thanks.
write a book about like the
Open them.
history.
I
That
don't even know
I
where to
mean,
start.
that
I
that
wouldn't
could
even know
definitely
where
be
to
a book.
begin with it. That would not, I don't have the imagination to do something like that.
Yeah, I would.
I
I
can
could never
think for
do that
anybody,
either.
but I'm not on that one.
Yeah. I serve you tea. I don't think you probably don't have the answer for this. It says, why didn't Eric speak at his own son's trial?
Um, I wondered that actually myself. That didn't make any sense to me. You would think that he would have wanted to say something. Maybe he was ashamed.
Or scared? Like, I think he was scared to go to.
Maybe he was afraid to face everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought maybe he thought he would get in trouble while he was up there because, oh, he's there, they can get access to him.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Because he went with Trish, but he stayed in the hotel. Because on the phone call, it came out that he went there, he traveled, but he didn't go into the courthouse. So, yeah.
That's a Oh, but he's such a badass. He's such a hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Let him
Yeah.
come to Alabama. I'll show him how much he's not.
Oh, yeah, cowards. They're serious team. All right, Paige. Well, thank you. I'm gonna
Yes, ma'am.
take you down and I'm gonna end it. I do a little wind down and
Of
yeah,
course.
I will text you after. Thank you again. All right,
Thank you
bye.
for having me.
Bye. Bye, Paige. Oh, I hope I didn't cut that too short. In the middle of her saying bye, I cut it off. Bad timing. No, it's all good. That was good. How awesome is she? That was a good interview. She answered all the questions and I feel like I have better insight into who Shanda is. What did you guys think? I thought it was pretty interesting. I knew a lot of it because I've been talking to her, the last week or so. So I'll let she answer those questions. I had so many when I first talked to her. I asked her like all of them. But there were some actually new ones today that I found out. But yeah, it was very good. Thank you guys. I hope we answered all the questions that you guys had. Hopefully nobody's sitting there like, oh, I didn't get my questions answered. And thank you for all the donations and stuff. Sorry, I'm thanking you late, but I did not want to get sidetracked. I would have, but let me think again. I'm just gonna go think because I have all this super chat still in here, at least some of them. Melba, awesome, thank you. Welcome to the family. Kelly, welcome to the family. We got Ali B from Tennessee, down the rabbit hole. Thank you. Donna Burrows, we got the new member in the $100 donation. Thank you. And Kathy Chapman, always generous. Who else? Be kind and mindful. We got Sarah Flynn. Kathy Chapman. Mia Spaghetti, Soul Food, Donna, Misty. Plus, I'm making sure I got all these. I answered all of them. Hopefully, I didn't. Yeah, Abellis and Groovy. Oh, Groovy, you're a new one I didn't get to thank yet. Groovy Canadian chick. Thank you so much, guys. I'm probably not going to do like a long wind down. I think I'm just going to end it. Keep it short and sweet. Yes, I would have, Wyatt. So I'm like, you mods tell everybody, like, I am just going to focus on the interview, focus on her, what she's saying, because it takes me like a split second of reading something and I get sidetracked. So yeah, that's how I have to do them from now on. Like, because normally I just got to, no, it was good. I'm happy. I'm happy with how it went. All right, guys, have a good night, everybody. We'll see you. See you when I see you. See you next live. Thanks for being so cool, though. You guys, it was a good chat. I know it. Even though, like I said, I didn't look till the end. I'm getting some feedback from my mods. You guys have been pretty awesome tonight. So I'm proud of everybody. All right. Bye, guys.